this is 100 facts about the human body. You may have heard of some of them already, I don't know. You may know some of them already, I've had a quick flick through, a very quick flick through, and I know some of them already, but out of 100 there's got to be some that you don't know. So, I'm just going to go ahead and read them. This might take a bit longer than the other video, but we shall see. I'm really warm. It's really hot in here. I don't know if there's any way I can cool down, not really. Anyway, the first section is about what my last video was about, which is the brain. So some of these might be repeated, and I'm sorry if they are. Okay, the brain. Number 1. Nerve impulses to and from the brain travel as fast as 170 miles an hour. Ever wonder how you can react so fast to things around you, or why that stubbed toe hurts right away? It's due to the superseding movement of nerve impulses from your brain to the rest of your body, and vice versa, bringing reactions at the speed of a high-power luxury sports car. Number 2. The brain operates on the same amount of power as a 10-watt light bulb. The cartoon image of a light bulb above your head when a great thought occurs isn't too far off the mark. Your brain generates as much energy as a small light bulb when you're sleeping, even when you're sleeping. Number 3. The human brain cell can hold 5 times as much information as the Encyclopedia Britannica. Wow. Or any other encyclopedia for that matter. Scientists have yet to settle on a definitive amount, but the storage capacity of the brain in electronic terms is thought to be between 3 or even 1,000 terabytes. Wow. The National Archives of Britain, containing over 900 years of history, only takes up 70 terabytes, making a brain's memory power pretty darn impressive. Yeah, I'd say. Your brain uses 20% of the oxygen that enters your bloodstream. Your brain only makes up about 2% of our mass in the body, yet consumes more oxygen than any other organ in the body, making it extremely susceptible to damage related to oxygen deprivation. So breathe deep to keep your brain happy and swimming in oxygenated cells. The brain is much more active at night than during the day. Well, most people should know that, surely. Logically, you would think that all the moving around, complicated calculations and tasks and general interaction we do on a daily basis during our working hours would take a lot more brain power than, say, lying in bed. Turns out the opposite is true. When you turn off, your brain turns on. Scientists don't yet know why this is, but you can thank the hard work of your brain while you sleep for all those pleasant dreams. Number 6. Scientists say the higher your IQ, the more you dream. While this may be true, don't take it as a sign you're mentally lacking if you can't recall your dreams. Most of us don't remember many of our dreams, and the average length of most dreams is only 2 to 3 seconds. Really? I thought it was just a few minutes, which is barely long enough to register. I thought it was 2 to 3 minutes, not seconds. That sounds a bit far-fetched. The heating's just come on, fabulous. As if it's not hot enough here already. Okay. The next fact, number 7. Neurons continue to grow throughout human life. For years, scientists and doctors thought the brain and neural tissue couldn't grow or regenerate. While it doesn't act in the same manner as tissues in many other parts of the body, neurons can and do grow throughout your life, adding a whole new dimension to the study of the brain and illnesses that affect it. Information travels at different speeds within different types of neurons. Not all neurons are the same. There are a few different types within the body, and transmission along these different kinds can be as slow as 0.5 meters a second, or as fast as 120 meters a second, which, as I learned in my other video, is about 268 miles an hour. The brain itself cannot feel pain. While the brain might be the pain center when you cut your finger or burn yourself, the brain itself does not have pain receptors and cannot feel pain. That doesn't mean your head can't hurt. The brain is surrounded by loads of tissues, nerves and blood vessels that are plenty receptive to pain and can give you a pounding headache. Last fact on the brain. Yay. 80% of the brain is water. Your brain isn't the firm, grey mass you've seen on TV. Living brain tissue is a squishy, pink and jelly-like organ thanks to the loads of blood and high water content of the tissue. So the next time you're feeling dehydrated, get a drink to keep your brain hydrated. Okay, the next facts are on hair and nails. Sorry. Facial hair grows faster than any other hair on the body. If you've ever had a covering of stubble on your face as you're clocking out at 5 o'clock, you're probably pretty familiar with this. In fact, if the average man never shaved his beard, it would grow to over 30 feet during his lifetime, longer than a killer whale. Wow. Yeah, I need to shave, actually. I should probably give up that, getting a bit stubbly. Every day, the average person loses 60 to 100 strands of hair. Unless you're already bald, chances are good that you're shedding pretty heavily on a daily basis. Your hair loss will vary in accordance with the season, pregnancy, illness, diet, and age. Women's hair is about half the diameter of men's hair. While it might sound strange, it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise that men's hair should be coarser than that of women. Hair diameter also varies on average between races, making hair plugs on some men look especially obvious. One human hair can support 3.5 ounces. That's about the weight of 2 full-size candy bars, and with hundreds of thousands of hairs on the human head, makes the tale of Rapunzel much more plausible. The fastest growing nail is on the middle finger. I'm not swearing at you. I'm swearing at myself, if anything. The nail on the middle finger of your dominant hand, that is my dominant hand just by chance, will grow the fastest of all. Why is not entirely known, but nail growth is related to the length of the finger, with the longest fingers growing the nails the fastest and shortest the slowest. Really, because my little fingernails always grow really quickly. Yeah, these two, my little fingers, are always longer than my other ones. That doesn't make sense. I don't believe it. There are as many hairs per square inch on your body as a chimpanzee. Humans are not quite the naked apes that we're made out to be. We have lots of hairs, but most of us, it's not obvious as a majority of the hairs are too fine or light to be seen. Blondes have more hair. They are said to have more fun, and they definitely have more hair. Hair colour determines how dense the hair on your head is. The average human has 100,000 hair follicles, each of which is capable of producing 20 individual hairs during a person's lifetime. Blondes average 146,000 follicles, while people with black hair tend to have about 110,000 follicles. Those with brown hair fit the average with 100,000 follicles, and redheads have the least dense hair with about 86,000 follicles. 18. Fingernails grow nearly 4 times faster than toenails. If you notice that you're trimming your fingernails much more frequently than your toenails, you're not just imagining it. The nails that get the most exposure and are used most frequently grow the fastest. On average, nails on both the toes and fingers grow about 1/10 of an inch each month. 19. The lifespan of a human hair is 3 to 7 years on average. That's quite a long average, in between 3 and 7 years. While you I think they're missing a word, while you lose quite a few hairs each day, hairs actually have pretty long life, providing they aren't subject to any trauma. Your hairs will likely get to see several different haircuts and styles, and even possibly decades before they fall out on their own. Sorry, I'm not reading this very well. Actually, a lot more time than I thought. 20. must lose over 50% of your scalp hairs before it is apparent to anyone. You lose hundreds of hairs a day, but you'll have to lose a lot more before you or anyone else will notice. Half of the hairs on your pretty little head will have to disappear before your impending baldness will become obvious to those around you. Human hair is virtually indestructible, aside from its flammability. Apart from the fact you can set it on fire. Human hair decays at such a slow rate that it's practically non-disintegrative. If you've ever wondered how your hair clogs up your pipes so quick, consider this. Hair cannot be destroyed by cold, change of climate, water, or other natural forces, and it is resistant to many kinds of acids and corrosive chemicals. Internal organs. This is the next section. The largest internal organ is the small intestine. Despite being called the smaller of the two intestines, your small intestine is actually 4 times as long as the average adult is tall. If it weren't looped back and forth upon itself, it wouldn't fit inside the abdominal cavity. The human heart creates enough pressure to squirt blood 30 feet. I hate that thought. No wonder you can feel your heartbeat so easily. Pumping blood through your body quickly and efficiently takes quite a bit of pressure, resulting in strong contractions of the heart and thick walls of the ventricles which push blood to the body. The acid in your stomach is strong enough to dissolve razor blades. Bloody hell. While you certainly shouldn't test this fortitude of your stomach by eating a razor blade or any other metal object for that matter, the acids that digest the food you eat aren't to be taken lightly. Hydrochloric acid, the type found in your stomach, is not only good at dissolving your pizza you had for dinner, but can also eat through many types of metal. The human body is estimated to have 60,000 miles of blood vessels. To put that in perspective, the distance around the Earth is about 25,000 miles, making the distance of your blood vessels could travel, if laid to end, more than 2 times around the Earth. That's impressive. You get a new stomach lining every 3 to 4 days. The mucus-like cells lining the walls of the stomach would soon dissolve due to the strong digestive acids in your stomach if they weren't constantly replaced. Those with ulcers know how painful it can be when stomach acid takes its toll on the lining of your stomach. The surface area of the human lung is equal to a tennis court. Wow! That's amazing. In order to more efficiently oxygenate the blood, I'm just going to see if I can move this up. Full on. There we go. In order to more efficiently oxygenate the blood, the lungs are filled with thousands of branching bronchi and tiny grape-like alveoli. These are filled with microscopic capillaries which oxygen and carbon dioxide. Not a lot of this is good English. The large amount of surface area makes it easier for this exchange to take place and makes sure you stay properly oxygenated at all times. Women's heart beats faster than men's. The main reason for this is simply that on average women tend to be smaller than men and have less mass to pump blood to. But women's and men's hearts can actually act quite differently, especially when experiencing trauma like a heart attack, and many treatments that work for men must be adjusted or changed entirely to work for women. Scientists have counted over 500 types of liver functions. You may not think much about your liver, except after a long night of drinking, but the liver is one of the body's hardest working, largest and busiest organs. Some of the functions that your liver performs are production of bile, decomposition of red blood cells, plasma protein synthesis, and detoxification. The aorta is nearly the diameter of a garden hose. The average adult heart is about the size of 2 fists, making the size of the aorta quite impressive. 2 fists. That's pretty big. The artery needs to be so large as the main supplier of rich, oxygenated blood to the rest of the body. Your left lung is smaller than your right lung to make room for your heart. For most people, if they were asked to draw a picture of what the lungs look like, they would draw both roughly the same size. While the lungs are fairly familiar in size, the human heart, though located fairly centrally, is tilted slightly to the left, making it take up more room on the side of the body and crowding up that poor left lung. If you could remove a large part of your internal organ, you could remove a large part of your internal organs and still survive. The human body may appear fragile, but it's possible to survive even with the removal of the stomach, the spleen, 75% of the liver, 80% of the intestines, 1 kidney, 1 lung, and virtually every organ from the pelvic and groin area. You might not feel too great, but the missing organs wouldn't kill you. So why do we have so many to begin with if we can live without them? That's the question. Why do we have 2 lungs if we could live with 1? Why do we have 2 kidneys if we can live with 1? Why do we have such big livers if we can live with a smaller one? Why do we have so much if we don't need it? Anyway, next one. The adrenal glands change size throughout life. The adrenal glands lying right above the kidneys are responsible for releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. In the 7th month of a fetus's development, the glands are roughly the same size as the kidneys. At birth, the glands have shrunk slightly and will continue to do so throughout life. In fact, by the time a person reaches old age, the glands are so small that they can hardly be seen. This is going to be a good section. Bodily functions. Sneezes regularly exceed 100 miles an hour. There's a good reason why you can't keep your eyes open when you sneeze. The sneeze is rocketing out of your body at close to 100 miles an hour. This is, of course, a good reason to cover your mouth when you sneeze, and I hope you do. It really annoys me when you see children coughing and sneezing, and their parents don't tell them to cover their mouth. That really frustrates me. Coughs clock in at about 60 miles an hour. Viruses and colds get spread around the office and the classroom quickly during cold and flu season. With 60 miles an hour coughs spraying germs far and wide, it's no wonder. Women blink twice as many times as men do we? I haven't noticed. That's a lot of blinking every day. The average person, man or woman, blinks about 13 times a minute. A full bladder is roughly the size of a softball. I don't know how big a softball is because I'm not American, but I'm assuming it's fist-ish size. I don't know. No wonder you have to run to the bathroom when you feel the call of the wild. The average bladder holds about 40 to 80 cc of fluid. 400 to 800 cc of fluid. But most people feel the urge to go long before that, 250 to 300 cc. Approximately 75% of human waste is made of water. While we might typically think that urine is the liquid part of human waste products, the truth is that what we consider solid waste is actually mostly water as well. You should be thankful that most waste is fairly water-filled, as drier, harder stools are what cause constipation and are much harder and sometimes painful to pass. Feet have 500,000 sweat glands and can produce more than a pint of sweat a day. Jesus. My feet never really smell. I'm quite happy about that. I'm quite lucky. Actually, I don't know if they would if I did a hard shift at work. If I did a busy shift, they probably would. With that kind of sweat-producing power, it's no wonder that your gym shoes have a stench that can peel paint. Additionally, men usually have much more active sweat glands than women. Sorry, I'm playing with my head. During your lifetime, you will produce enough saliva to fill 2 swimming pools. Saliva plays an important part in beginning the digestive process and keeping the mouth lubricated, and your mouth produces quite a bit of it on a daily basis. The average person expels flatulence 14 times a day. Even if you like to think you're too dignified to pass gas, the reality is that almost everyone will, at least a few times a day. Digestion causes the body to release gases which can be painful if trapped in the abdomen and not released. Earwax production is necessary for good ear health. While many people find earwax to be disgusting, it's actually a very important part of your ear's defensive system. It protects the delicate inner ear from bacteria, fungus, dirt, and even insects. It also cleans and lubricates the ear canal, so don't use those cotton buds to pick your ears too often because it's unhealthy for your ears. I had my ears, what's the word? Syringed once. That was an experience. That was odd. It didn't hurt or anything, but it was just weird. Okay, the next section is sex and reproduction. On any given day, sexual intercourse takes place 120 million times on Earth. Sweet. Humans are a quickly proliferating species, and with about 4% of the world's population having sex on any given day, it's no wonder that birth rates continue to increase in many places all over the world. The largest cell in the human body is the female egg, and the smallest is the male sperm. While you can't see skin cells or muscle cells, the ovum is typically large enough to be seen with the naked eye with a diameter of about 1 millimeter. The sperm cell, on the other hand, is tiny, consisting of little more than nucleus. 3 things pregnant women dream of most during their first trimester are frogs, worms, and potted plants. Pregnancy hormones can cause mood swings, cravings, and other unexpected changes. Oddly enough, hormones can often affect the types of dreams women have and their vividness. The most common are these 3 types, but many women also dream of water, giving birth, or even having violent or sexually charged dreams. Hello. 46. Your teeth start growing 6 months before you're born. While few babies are born with teeth in place, the teeth that will eventually push through the gums of young children are formed long before the child even leaves the womb. At 9 to 12 weeks, the fetus starts to form the teeth buds that will turn into baby teeth. Babies are always born with blue eyes. The colour of your eyes depends on the genes you get from your parents, but at birth most babies appear to have blue eyes. The reason behind this is the pigment melanin. The melanin in the newborn's eyes often needs time after birth to be fully deposited or to be darkened by exposure to ultraviolet light, later revealing the baby's true eye colour. I've got blue eyes. I don't know why I just said that, it doesn't really matter, but anyway. Babies are, pound for pound, stronger than an ox. Babies are strong. They squeeze your finger, it's really strong, and they've got quite good resistance to something they don't want to do. While a baby certainly couldn't pull a covered wagon at its present size, if the child were the size of an oxen, it might be very well able to. Babies have especially strong and powerful legs for such tiny creatures, so watch out for those kicks. 49. 1 out of every 2,000 newborn infants has a tooth when they are born. Nursing mothers may cringe at this fact. Sometimes the tooth is a regular baby tooth that has already erupted, and sometimes it's an extra tooth that will fall out before the other set of choppers comes in. 50. A fetus acquires fingerprints at the age of 3 months. When only a small fraction of the way through its development, a fetus will have already developed one of the most unique human traits, fingerprints. At only 6 to 13 weeks of development, the walls of what will be fingerprints have already developed. You can't see that at all. Oddly enough, those fingerprints will not change throughout the person's life and will be one of the last things to disappear after death. Every human spends about half an hour as a single cell. All life has to begin somewhere, and even the largest humans spend a short part of their life as a single-celled organism when sperm and egg cells first combine. Shortly afterwards, the cells begin rapidly dividing and forming the components of a tiny embryo. Most men have erections every hour to hour and a half during sleep. Most people's bodies and minds are much more active when they're sleeping than they think. The combination of blood circulation and testosterone production can cause erections during sleep, and they're often a normal and necessary part of REM sleep. Okay, now because I've only gotten to number 52 and this video is 25 minutes long already, I'm going to stop this one and then I'm going to make another one to finish it off to 100. Just because I don't know how large the video size is going to be, because never mind. So, yeah, please stick